Hello, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Home Economics. I'm Carol Bousquet, your host. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Realty, Merrimack Valley. In this episode of Home Economics, we'll focus on expanded home buying and refinancing opportunities for working families and first-time buyers. And we'll discuss housing and financing, specifically for military veterans. Stay tuned. I'm always looking for affordable housing opportunities and how to get clients into them. In that vein, I'm happy to welcome important members of our team, Lisa Fiandaca, Business Development Officer for Mass Housing, and Patty Ryan of Mortgage Financial Incorporated, to discuss some very creative and accessible mortgage programs that expand home buying opportunities for working families and veterans. Welcome, Lisa and Patty.
Thank you, Carol.
All right.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Patty has over 21 years experience in the mortgage world. She is a mortgage originator, a mortgage writer, and is located in my office, Keller Williams Realty in Westford, right behind Bamboo, and is available just about 24/7 from my experience. So Lisa is Mass Housing, which I'm going to actually let Lisa tell us what Mass Housing is exactly. This is an extremely unique opportunity for first-time home buyers. Do you mind giving us a rundown?
Oh, I'd love to. Thanks for having me, Carol. Mass Housing is the state's affordable housing agency. We're not a direct lender. Mass Housing's been around for over 50 years, and we lend to income-eligible people who want to buy anywhere in Massachusetts through our lending partners. Mortgage Financial is one of our lending partners. Borrowers can go to Mortgage Financial to get a Mass Housing loan. We work with about 170 banks, credit unions, and mortgage companies.
Beautiful. And what's unique about Mass Housing?
We serve a low to moderate income borrower, so people who may not have access to credit and other types of loan programs. We offer a 30-year fixed rate for people who are earning in Essex County or Middlesex County under $129,000 a year. And they can get a 30-year fixed rate with as little as 3% down.
That's amazing.
It is. We're really proud of our products.
Yeah. And how do you work together?
We act as the investor. So we have the loan program, and we ask our lending partners to offer it out to the consumers. So a borrower could go to Patty asking about a Mass Housing loan. Perhaps they're a first-time home buyer with limited down payments. And Patty could help them get a very affordable, sustainable loan program.
What's your experience been working with Mass Housing, Patty?
It's been wonderful. We actually have 2 Mass Housing underwriters right in our office, so we don't actually have to send our files out to Mass Housing in Boston. But whenever I need a question answered by their underwriting staff, I can send them a quick email or give them a call, and they get back to me right away. So it's been a great experience working with Lisa and Mass Housing.
Do you have any success stories that you want to discuss?
Well, in general, I enjoy my job.
Yeah.
I like to try to put people in a house successfully. One of my first go-to programs is Mass Housing. They offer great rates. They offer a program with no PMI.
And for our viewers, what's PMI?
Private mortgage insurance.
Which can be very confusing.
Yes.
Private mortgage insurance, sometimes referred to as mortgage insurance, is often required if someone's putting less than 20% down. So less than 20% of the purchase price, that loan's more risky for the lender because of the financial investment the borrower was putting into the transaction. So the lender, the bank, or the mortgage company wants some protection. So the borrower often will pay for private mortgage insurance when they make their mortgage payment. So they pay principal and interest, real estate taxes, they pay their hazard insurance, and they'll pay a PMI payment every month. And again, it protects the lender in the event of default, and it helps someone get into a property with a down payment of less than 20%.
Sure. Talk a little bit more about the mortgage insurance that Mass Housing offers that's not under that particular category.
We have a very unique benefit at Mass Housing called MI Plus. So it's mortgage insurance with payment protection. Any loan that has mortgage insurance, the borrower gets unemployment protection. So if they should lose their job during the first 10 years of the loan and they're collecting benefits through the Division of Unemployment, Mass Housing will pay up to 6 months of principal and interest for them while they're unemployed. Mm-hmm. They don't pay us back, and we don't add anything onto the loan.
That's amazing.
It is. We've been able to help many borrowers. We've had this benefit for 10 years. We paid over $4 million in claims. To help people stay in their house when they're not receiving their full pay, we're very proud of that benefit.
Mm-hmm. And Patty, how do you decide that this is the best path for one of your clients on approach?
Well, what I like to do is just sit down with their paperwork and evaluate their situation. I actually like to give them as many options as I can, whether it is Mass Housing or another program. And I will sit down with them and go over all of them. I never want to assume that what I think is best for a customer is what is best for a customer. I just like to give them the options and let them decide. I can tell you there's times where I was using Mass Housing and I was going to go with the lender paid MI so that there wasn't any monthly PMI, and the payment was actually better, and the borrower wanted the lower interest rate with the PMI, which ended up being a higher payment. So that's why I never assume what the borrower might want.
Sure.
I just like to give the options.
Really is all about the choices, and for the consumer to have all of the choices working with someone, especially a first-time buyer, to have those laid out in front of them so that they can choose which is it the lowest payment that's the most important for them, what are their goals, and working with someone like Patty to achieve that.
Sure. Sure. So tell us a little bit more about how Mass Housing works when somebody is interested in a Mass Housing mortgage. What's the program look like?
So the program, it's a 30-year fixed rate with a couple of different options. A consumer can pick a loan with no mortgage insurance, with monthly mortgage insurance, or with, as Patty mentioned, lender-paid mortgage insurance. All the same guidelines with each option, but different interest rates. So again, they would have that availability to choose which is best for them. If they're buying a single family or a condo, they can put down as little as 3% of the purchase price. If they're buying a 2, 3, or 4 unit property, the minimum down payment is 5%.
And can they use this for renovations or?
We have a purchase and rehabilitation loan program, and that allows someone to both buy a property and borrow additional funds to rehabilitate it. We all know how old the housing stock is, and none of the properties look like some of the magazines or the TV shows that we see. So to be able to purchase a property that needs work, but borrow the money all at the same time to do it.
Patty, is it limited to just first-time buyers?
Well, I believe, Lisa, that you just can't own another house
Right.
at this point.
The Mass Housing program, you do not have to be a first-time buyer. As Patty mentioned, you just can't own any other property.
I see.
The purchase and rehabilitation is a little bit different. You do have to be a first-time buyer, except in some limited areas.
Okay. All right.
I was going to say what's also nice about Mass Housing is the MI or PMI levels are much lower than other programs.
Okay.
So that
Another way to save.
Another way to have a better payment for the borrowers.
Sure. Sure.
It's all about having the lowest payment.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. So important when you're getting the wheels turning in life with the largest financial decision you'll ever make. Yeah.
And so important to build your team.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted you to elaborate on your education program.
Sure.
Yeah.
We require, if someone's a first-time home buyer, that they take a home buyer education class. We work with nonprofit agencies across Massachusetts who offer first-time buyer classes in person and online, and if someone's buying a multifamily property, landlord education. The information that someone is able to gain through these classes is so valuable, as you mentioned, when they're making the largest investment that they've ever made.
And what's the class? How's it run? What's that consist of?
The class can be from 8 to 10 hours, the in-person class, and they're going to learn from and have presenters. A realtor presents on what is the role of the realtor, a home inspector, a real estate attorney, maybe an insurance agent. So everyone who's involved in the transaction, a loan officer, will be there explaining what the process is like.
Now, the class is available either in the classroom or online.
Right. There's a lot of options. Not everyone can get to a classroom setting, whether it's in the evenings and on the weekends. So they do have the option to do it at home and at their leisure.
Mm-hmm. What's your success rate with your program compared to the the mortgage world overall?
You know, borrowers who take home buyer education, their loans actually perform better, meaning they're able to make their payments, stay in the property, and understand what loan product that they were getting at the time they purchased their house. Mm-hmm. So we really do see a success rate with borrowers who take the education class, are able to make very informed decisions, and again, in making this really large financial decision.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk for a minute about programs available to the veterans, Patty.
Well, Mass Housing came out with this program called Welcome Home, and it's another alternative to doing a VA loan. You don't necessarily, I think, Lisa, have to have your certificate of eligibility, correct?
Right, so Operation Welcome Home is the program Patty's mentioning that we launched in November on Veterans Day of 2015. Mortgage Financial was the first lender to close a loan, the first loan that we ever did under Operation Welcome Home.
Good work.
I'm really proud of that, so thank you for that, to helping us launch that program. And it allows both veterans, current service members, and Gold Star families to obtain 100% financing, working with one of our lending partners to get this loan program to purchase property as a first-time buyer.
Beautiful.
The benefit also, Carol, that we talked a little bit about on mortgage insurance, the MI Plus benefit, under Operation Welcome Home is also available should that service member be deployed.
Can someone refinance an existing mortgage using Mass Housing products?
Yes, they can.
So oftentimes we can work with Patty and our lenders to save borrowers money. They may be in a mortgage loan now and interest rates have come down, and there might be an opportunity for them to lower their payments getting a Mass Housing loan.
Especially if we have a person with little equity, 3% equity, that's where it works. It's good
Beautiful.
to refinance with the Mass Housing loan.
In refinancing, they already do own the home, so that defies the criteria that they can't have property. So
correct.
There are programs then for refinancing. That is incredible. I don't think a lot of folks know about, or enough people know about Mass Housing.
I think sometimes we'd like to say we're the state's best kept secret, because I think oftentimes people will think that we're just for first-time home buyers and it's very low income. And as we've been able to talk about tonight, there are a lot of opportunities for both purchase, renovation loans, and refinance transactions as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, what we're seeing in the real estate world, and I'm sure you're well aware of it, is that our millennials just entering, the point in their lives where they might like to buy a home are holding off because of the lack of stock and lack of resources. Except for, I read today, the National Association of Realtors published some data that active duty military are the youngest cohort to be buying homes, first-time home buyers, interestingly, which I was...
statistic.
Yeah, I was very, caught my eye. And so Mass Housing is a fantastic instrument for this cohort who are holding off on making this investment because they don't think they have choices.
I think you're absolutely right, Carol. People are also thinking that they don't have enough down payment saved. I think they have to have a very large down payment, but as I mentioned, as little as 3%. Part of that or all of that money can be a gift. So there are often many ways that people can look towards purchasing a property, and we would say the first step should be to complete a home buyer education class and learn about the process.
Sure, of course. Where's the money come from? Just to understand a little bit more about Mass Housing, where is the money generated?
Sure. Well, as a self-supporting state agency, we do not receive any taxpayer dollars. Mass Housing sells loans on the secondary market, and we also can issue tax-exempt mortgage revenue bonds. But this is not a taxpayer-funded loan program. We don't run out of funds. We have continuous funding. So borrowers can get a Mass Housing loan from any of our lending partners all the time.
That's fantastic. I'm sure that some of our public will appreciate knowing that, and that I'm sure that this is news to a lot of people. All right, well, Lisa, thank you, and thank you, Patty Ryan, for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So appreciate your being on Home Economics to talk about your really valuable programs. I'm thrilled to have Terry Stater, the Veteran Service Officer for the town of Westford today, to help spread the word about what the veteran housing landscape looks like today. Thank you for joining me, Terry.
You're welcome. My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So why don't you just jump in, give us a little description of what the field looks like out there.
Well, Westford housing, we never have enough affordable housing anywhere. I mean, it's a constant challenge. We have our well-known properties, Tadmuck's, over on Tadmuck Road and Sargent School and a number of other things that are Westford Housing, as well as Chelmsford Housing, Choice, different programs that are out there. We have one specific property, the 173 Carlisle, which is Westford Veterans Housing, which is 5 apartments. So it's the old Terra Hall, no more Santa Claus waving from the corner of Route 27 to 25. And that's a really nice brand new apartments. We have three 2-bedrooms and 2 1-bedroom apartments in there. And those veterans are from the area, and they love it there. It's a really nice place to live. That's our only specific one that's just geared for veterans. I have a lot of veterans elsewhere, so we have them at any of the housing authority, Westford Housing Authority. So we have them at Sargent School and the complex behind Methodist Church over there, as well as at 65 and 67 Tadmuck, which is Village at Mystery Springs, and the apartments that are up front. We have other veterans around town are living in the community. And then they pay the rent. We have veterans at Princeton Properties, as well as Boot Mills and some of the others. But those are not properties that are set to give a discount or any kind of a break to a veteran. So they pay market rate there. So,
I see.
Okay.
And how would a veteran or veteran family qualify for affordable housing?
Well,
how do you find out about them?
Yeah, they can find out about them by registering with the housing authority. So, like Chelmsford Housing Authority also works a lot with the federal government. So they work a lot with the VA's inventory. Westford Housing deals strictly with our housing that we have on our housing authority. But Chelmsford is a unique program, as well as not Princeton, but Peabody Properties has, like the Stony Brook complex. There's 2 new apartments going in down there at the Stony Brook School. So actually they were just putting that out for lottery. So that's affordable housing. So I put information out. I'm going to say a lot of the realtors and agents around should have a list of where these affordable housing. Joe's Way, for example, the cottages that are off of Boston Road. There are certain units in there that are geared for the lower income clients, and veterans certainly will qualify for that. And they get preferential treatment there. So in other words, they would be eligible for it there.
In the selection process,
in the selection
they do get
process,
preferential.
Right. They get preferential. Not every property. Again, it depends upon the funding. So it's not an easy thing of just saying, okay, I got 65 rental properties that are geared towards veterans. They vary over the course of the projects that are as they're being built. But veterans do get preference, like in our housing authority. So they always, it's fairly, well, it depends. There's a waiting list, but veterans will move to the top of the list.
What's the veteran cohort look like? Are these our disabled veterans? Are they our elderly?
Well, they're the ones that I deal with usually are those that are looking for financial assistance some way or another. So we have multiple ways of doing. Massachusetts has its own Veterans Affairs group, or Department of Veterans Services, and they have a fairly large budget. It's actually over $95 million that is geared towards supporting veterans in Massachusetts. But the VA is the federal side. So the VA handles their big focus. Well, a lot of us right now are focusing on homelessness. So we're trying to make sure that all homeless veterans that want the opportunity for getting into a home can, as well as those who are potential for becoming homeless. Maybe there are arrears on their rent or mortgage payments or house payments. They could come to me, for example, and I can help get them either financial aid from the VA or from Veteran Services here in town and through the state program. And then that's who I normally see, is mostly folks that are looking for some kind of financial aid or looking for their COEs for the VA. I can help with that, or at least send them to the website. The Certificate of Eligibility.
All right.
Sorry, acronyms in the military as VA has them right.
As I well know.
Yes, right. So I can get them. I can help steer them towards where where they can get those. But the realtors and brokers have access to that information as well.
Sure.
So it usually tell them,
It's on the town website too.
Yes,
There's
right.
the list of properties right there.
Yes. You go to Westford Housing and you can see the list of properties and what ones that are out there. So I will help the veteran with the financial aid in cases.
Sure.
We have actually paid for arrears mortgage payments and utilities to get somebody back on track. Say it's a temporary unemployment situation. The previous speakers were talking about PMI and some of those other programs that are available. Those cost money and they add on to the mortgage.
Sure.
Our services are available for free to the veteran. So as long as they show a financial need, then we can assist them.
Sure.
And that's what I try and do, is gear them towards the financial resources that are out there and help them with the various programs.
Massachusetts is easily the best state for a veteran to be in. The expenditure that we make on our veterans is 3 times more than any state in the nation, and I think it's money very well spent. And still, there isn't enough to manage some of the challenges that you're faced with every day.
Well, Massachusetts, I've been in training all day with the VA, so we were going through lots of different programs, and we work. In Massachusetts, every city and town has a veterans agent or veterans service officer.
Which is unique in the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, across the country, it's very unique. There's county service officers like in New Hampshire. So, but there are, so what we are partnering up with the VA. So our goal is that we see the community, we're boots on the ground in the community and have the closest read on what the veteran population is all about. So we help with the VA in making sure that we're blending our services together. And I go out a lot and jointly with the VA and make those presentations or show up at motorcycle rallies or wherever, to make sure that that people know that we're out there. But I don't cold call. I don't go to every veteran's home and ask them if they need help. But we do have an extensive outreach program through the senior center, library, and other places to try and let people know how to get in touch with me.
And just to underline, Terry mentioned earlier that there are emergency funds available.
Absolutely. I have, let's say a veteran was displaced because of downed tree, took down their house and that took down a part of their house and damaged it. I have access to being immediately authorize them up to 3 days of living expenses in one of the hotels, for example. So we have to look at what other resources the American Red Cross will also provide sheltering, and a lot of our folks would seek shelter with friends or family members in the region. But we do have I have money available and I can help out in that case. I always have gift cards available through generous donations from the community, Market Basket, gas cards, to help people get reestablished or to buy whatever essentials they need to get moving. So.
And again, it's not just the veteran, it could be the Gold Star family member.
Absolutely. Yeah, the services cover surviving spouses as well. So that means that if a person's the widow of a veteran and they served honorably, they're eligible for programs within Massachusetts. Now, they can't get the VA health care that the veteran would be able to, but they are certainly eligible for financial aid. I have a number of widows that we help out financially every month with their healthcare insurance, for example.
Okay.
So, and that helps them have money for the other things to
Sure.
include their rent.
Sure.
The housing authority's rent is geared towards 30% of their income, so that's pretty fixed. And they're really nice programs that are out there, and you should tap into them.
Let's talk briefly about homelessness among our veterans. I also managed the women's program for Veterans Inc. out of Worcester.
Oh, yeah.
They have 12 properties throughout the New England states for homeless veterans, and so I have some experience there. And and you were in a training today that discussed.
We just talked about homelessness, correct, yeah. Veterans Inc., which you had mentioned, has facilities at Fort Devens.
Exactly.
So there's shelters for independent women or individual, men and women both there. And Worcester has a big facility.
Right.
There's the Veterans Northeast Outreach Center up in Haverhill. They have some great places. There's depends upon the veterans' needs and what if it's a
Exactly.
family program, so that we would put them in at our veterans housing in Westford. And there are programs that are out there to address like I said, those that are homeless as well as in jeopardy of becoming homeless.
Right, at
somewhere,
risk of becoming homeless.
Correct, right.
And I like sharing this information with our viewers because so many of us have someone in the family constellation, family or friend constellation. If anyone knows of anyone who is at risk at all, financially
absolutely.
or relative to living situation, please do let them know that in every town in the state of Massachusetts, there's a veteran agent like Terry Stater standing by with a whole bag of tricks devoted to helping our veterans.
That's right. Yes, everything from the homeless to the suicide prevention to substance abuse. We have some great programs, and for family members as well as friends of veterans. If they see a veteran that's a friend of theirs or whatever, and they are questioning
Sure.
something, the VA hotlines will take them as well.
Yeah. And how do we find you?
How do we find me? My office is at the Millennium School building next to Superintendent Olson's office. I am on the town website, so if you do westfordma.gov/veterans, you can find me there. I have a phone number. The phone number will eventually get to me 7/24. If you leave a message there, I get notification of a message, and I've responded as late as midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, if need to be, if there's an emergency. Otherwise, it waits till the next day, as obviously. But I try and get on my messages and respond within 12 to 24 hours. So.
Well, Terry, we're lucky to have you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us
My
today.
pleasure. Thank you very
Absolutely. I
much.
hope you'll come back again sometime.
I'd be glad to.
Wonderful.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us for this issue of Home Economics. See you next time.